Steve Bannon's contempt of Congress trial is now underway, despite his unsuccessful attempts to delay it. Bannon was indicted last year after refusing to cooperate with the January 6th Select Committee. He faces 2 counts of contempt of Congress, with each count carrying a minimum of 30 days in jail, as long as 1 year in jail. This is just the latest instance of Bannon facing legal trouble. He previously faced charges for defrauding supporters who believed they were donating to a fundraiser to build a border wall that was never built. Fraud charges in which he was later pardoned by Donald Trump in one of his final acts as president. Joining me now, Glenn Kirshner, MSNBC legal analyst, and he's covering the trial all week long from the federal court out in D.C. So you were outside the court. Tell us what's going on there. In and outside the courtroom, what's it look like?
It's not quite as well attended as I would have expected. There are a smattering of people who are, I would say, not the biggest Steve Bannon fans. I've seen the Steve Bannon fans, I think I can count on one hand, but everybody is relatively well behaved. Inside the courtroom, it's been slow going through jury selection, Zerlina, which is not at all unusual. What I will say is we have seen prospective jurors who know a lot about Steve Bannon and about the January 6th committee and what happened here in D.C. on January 6th. We know some jurors who said, I don't even know who Steve Bannon is, and I don't follow whatever the J6 committee is doing. So they've kind of run the spectrum. What we also have seen is a fair number of jurors who admitted that they had a pretty negative opinion of Steve Bannon, and they said they would have a hard time setting that negative opinion aside and giving Steve Bannon a fair and impartial trial. Not surprisingly, those jurors were excused by Judge Nichols. And then we had jurors who said things like, you know what, I don't have a really good opinion of Steve Bannon personally. However, I think I can set my opinions aside and base my verdict only on what I see introduced during the course of the trial. And Judge Nichols struggled with that a little bit. He said, you know, we're not looking for, nor are we necessarily going to find many jurors who don't know who Steve Bannon is, who don't know anything about the Capitol attack. What's key is that if they do know things and they have formed some opinions, can they swear under oath as potential jurors that they can set it all aside and base their decision only on what they see during the course of the trial? So with a juror like that, Judge Nichols said, you know, it's a close call, but the tie goes to the runner. I'm going to go ahead and excuse this person because they said they have a negative opinion of Steve Bannon. And frankly, Zerlina, that is as it should be, because we want to give every defendant a fair and impartial jury. If we're going to convict them, let's do it with a fair jury.
Certainly. I'm like, who are these people, though, that I've never heard about Steve Bannon? I have many questions for them that are not even related to jury selection. Let's turn to the topic of the January 6th Select Committee hearings. So this week, the hearings are later in the week on Thursday in prime time. I want you to take a listen to Representative Adam Kinzinger, who is set to lead that hearing on Thursday, about what to expect.
This is going to open people's eyes in a big way. The reality is, I'll give you this preview, the president didn't do very much, but gleefully watch television during this time frame. We're going to present a lot more than that.
The president didn't do anything?
The president didn't do anything, and we're going to fill those blanks in. And if the American people watch this, particularly I say this to my fellow Republicans, watch this with an open mind. And is this the kind of strong leader you really think you deserve?
Not the perfect comparison, but those of you who've seen the last episode of Seinfeld, maybe you were surprised that inaction could be a crime in any context. But in this context, Glenn, can Trump's inaction be prosecuted as an actual crime?
Yes. Why? Because he has a duty to faithfully execute the laws of the country. He has a responsibility, not only a sworn responsibility, but a legal responsibility. And, you know, I hate to jump right to the big ticket crime against the United States, treason. But that crime is defined in the federal code as somebody who owes an allegiance to the United States. If that person levies war against the United States, he's guilty of treason. Donald Trump, by virtue of his position and his oath of office and his sworn duty to faithfully execute the laws of the United States, had a responsibility to protect the people at the Capitol, not to launch an attack on them, and certainly not, once that attack was in progress, sit there, I'm going to use Adam Kinzinger's words, gleefully watching people get hurt, gleefully watching people hunt for the vice president to hang him, which Donald Trump said is exactly what should be done. He was determined to hold on to presidential power by any means necessary, including if people had to get hurt at the Capitol. That is a legal duty he breached. That gives him criminal exposure. And I have a feeling, Zerlina, Thursday's hearings are going to be so much more dramatic and upsetting and revealing than all of the hearings we have heard thus far.
It reminds me of the Mary Trump quote, if he can in any way profit from your death, he will facilitate it. And then he will ignore the fact that you died. Her speaking about her uncle, Donald Trump. Glenn Kirshner, thank you so much for being here. It's always great to talk to you. Please stay safe. Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.